Make some noise for your amazing host.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You've been off track for a couple of days, but we'll get you back on track in no time. Over the past 2 weeks, we've been going through some cautionary tales that remind us of the importance of not straying from God's path, and we're really just getting started. If you're joining us for the first time, we've been talking about the Israelites and how disobedient they were. Time and time again, they ignored what God told them to do, but God still loved them. We're going to talk more about this today, but first, let's check in and see what Mr. Coyote is up to over at the shop.
Coming up.
What is this string's superpower? Don't wander too far. There's more of Off Track right around the corner.
A string with a superpower? I can't wait to see what that's all about. But before we do, check out what's coming up. First, we will watch a pre-show video, then we will worship together, and then listen to today's Bible story around the warm campfire. Before you head over, select the download button below this video to access your Get Real guide. Inside, you will find everything you need to stay on track during the week, including questions to think about and fun games to play. Now check out this video.
Hey everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm very excited to be opening up some of these letters that are covered with cats, and we have some more balloons that we need to pop to find out what's inside. All on this episode of Mail Time.
All right, let's go ahead and jump in. We've got this envelope covered in super adorable stickers of some cats.
Yes.
Tons
Did you
of
say
dogs.
durable or adorable?
Both.
Adorable. It means it's cute and sturdy.
Yes.
I like that.
It's got a strong backbone.
Yeah.
Okay, inside we have this super fun floral card.
Look what happened to this one. Look at this little, I think this was a pug right here.
Not so adorable after all.
Oh no, what's the opposite of adorable? A breakable? All right, keep going.
Probably. Okay, so this is a sweet card from our friend Daisy, and she says, I love Sandals Church Kids. Short, sweet, simple. I love it. Thank you so much, Daisy. This is great.
Okay, our next letter is from Ocean Springs,
Mississippi.
Mississippi has no oceans, right?
They've got Ocean Springs, though.
They've got Ocean Springs.
So-
It sounds like a drink. This is from the Ocean Springs Water Company. Oh, it's just a water bill. Okay, this is really awesome. There's an amazing portrait on here.
Really good.
Look at this. Wow, this is so cool. It's done in
Impressive.
pencil, so I want to be careful because pencil can smudge very easily. So we're gonna do this because the note is on this
Don't
side.
touch it.
It says, Dear Sandals Church Kids, I really love watching your videos and your movies. I bet she's talking about the Wild Library.
I bet.
I would love it if you could make more. And also, I'm Hannah.
Hey, Hannah.
I'm the one who drew the ferret one time. So you've written to us before. But now I'd like to show you how my artwork has improved. Yes, oh my goodness,
Okay.
Hannah. I love your artwork. I love that you signed it. We'll put it on our wall. Thank you so much for your awesome artwork.
Okay, Mr. Coyote, I've got 3 balloons here.
Where are they from?
They're from Moreno Valley, shout out.
Why aren't they blowing up?
Because,
Because you can't mail balloons to people.
can you imagine the shipping on that?
Yeah, what would happen?
But
They'd float
we
away.
do have something here to help us.
We're gonna have to pop these balloons.
It's gonna be loud, it's gonna be crazy.
Plug your ears if you have to.
Here we go, here we go.
Number 1. You know what? When you can't pop a balloon with technology, you just have to use your brute strength. Here we go.
The technology that God gave you.
Yeah.
All right, it says, Sandals Church Kids, thank you so much for teaching us about Jesus. Love, Miss Marissa.
This might
and
be a Sandals Kids leader.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
I think you might be right. And this super fun heart that says, we love you. Well, hey, we love you. This
That's
is great.
super cool. Okay, let's see if this next one works.
Come on.
Otherwise, you have to pop it.
Okay. Oh, something happened.
Did we lose it?
No, we got it.
Oh, we got it,
landed
okay.
on the table, thankfully. Okay, this little note from Layla, and it says, I love Sandals Church Kids, and we've got some fun little drawings. I think this is a self-portrait of you, Layla. That's my guess. We've got a few hearts on here, some other fun little artistic details. Layla, this is great. Thank you so much.
Okay, our last one. Plug your ears if you
Okay,
need
here we
to.
go. flew all the way to your left. I'll get this piece off.
Okay,
All right.
Beautiful writing on here. It says, Sandals Church Moreno Valley Kids loves Jesus and you. Thank you for all that you do.
So
I think this might be
fun.
from another Sandals Kids leader.
I love it.
Beautiful handwriting. Thank you for this note. And you were right, we all need Jesus. Thank you guys so much for sending in your balloon letters. What a fun way to open them.
And for those of you that are wondering, hey, how do I write to you guys? How do I get a letter on mail time? Well, there's two ways you guys can do that. The first one is you can send us a physical letter in the mail by addressing it to Sandals Church Kids, 150 Palmerita Avenue, Riverside, California, 92507. Or you can send us an email with your drawings or a question or even a challenge, and you can send that to mail@sandalskids.com. We love these letters today. We love hearing from you guys. We hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you next time right here.
You know what time it is. It's time to worship. Today, we're talking about how God never lets sin win. So that means we can choose to turn away from our sin and not let sin win either. While you're worshiping today, think about a sin in your life that might be winning right now. Take some time to ask God to help you overcome that sin in your life, and maybe you need to share it with a parent, friend, or a leader. You can close your eyes, dance along, or raise your hands while we sing. So let's stand up on our feet and worship together.
Dear enemy, you were just a part of the plan for the hope and the future I now have. Dear enemy, my God is the master creator. Everything is better in his hands. You meant to hurt me, but God turned your evil into good, into good. It was to save me and the lives of many people. God turns evil into good. God turns evil into good. Dear enemy, you were just a piece of the puzzle God set aside from the very start. Dear enemy, you're a blot of ink on my canvas. God is framing as a work of art. You meant to hurt me, but God turned your evil into good, into good. It was to save me and the lives of many people. God turns evil into good. 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 He's pointing me to light with your arrows. He's building a throne with your sticks and stones. He's cooking me a feast with your fire. Yeah, he's using you to help me grow. He's pointing me to life with your arrows. He's building a throne with your sticks and stones. He's cooking me a feast with your fire. Yeah, he's using you to help me grow. You meant us hope we can't outrun, because he cares about us. Oh, God doesn't let sin win. It's justice in the end. So be nice to your friends. God doesn't let sin win. God doesn't let sin win. Oh, God doesn't let sin win.
As we gather around the campfire today, we're talking about the story of Jeremiah and the word that wasn't heard from the Bible in Jeremiah 7, verse 1 through 15. We'll learn how God gives people who turn away from him the fair justice they deserve, as well as the undeserved hope for their future. This week, we'll see how God doesn't let sin win, and that means we can choose to turn from our sin. So lean in, warm your hands by the fire, in 3, 2, 1.
So still no luck getting out of here, huh? Well, that's okay. We've got room. Come on over, join us at the campfire. We're roasting marshmallows for dessert, because no meal would be complete without some delicious mallows and a little bit of imagination. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to imagine if you had a friend that you had grown up with and known your entire life. Now, obviously, you would know them really, really well, and they would know you really well too. But suddenly one day, your friend starts being super mean to you. Then you notice that they're being rude to all of the other kids around you. They're calling people names, they're cutting in line, they're even stealing other people's stuff. So you take them aside, you ask them to stop, and they agree. But then the next day, they do the same bad stuff again. So you talk to them again. But the day after that, they keep doing mean things. So the cycle continues day after day, week after week. You let them know that you just can't be friends with someone who treats you and others so unkindly, but your friend doesn't seem to care. So what would you do in this situation? Would you keep being friends with that person? Or would you stand up for what is right? Did you know that the Israelites acted the way that this bad friend acted? Well, I'll go ahead, grab my Bible, and I'll show you what I am talking about. Okay, so last week we left off in our story when God gave Isaiah a message for the Israelites, that even though he would bring judgment on them for their sin, he also promised to give them hope for a better future. That hope came through a promised king whose name was Jesus. After Isaiah's time, there were many more prophets that God chose to speak to Israel through. So let's pick up in our story with the next prophet, whose name was Jeremiah. So God gave this prophet Jeremiah a special message to tell the Israelite people when he was in the temple in Jerusalem. God told them through Jeremiah that the Israelites needed to change their lives and start doing what was right. Jeremiah told them to be fair to others, to care for strangers, for orphans and widows. He also told them to stop killing innocent people and following other gods that weren't the one true God. The Israelites already knew that they should be doing these things, but they had turned away from God's commands many, many times. Instead of following God's way, they were following the way of the world around them. Jeremiah saw how corrupt they were, and he asked the Israelites how they could sin one minute and then turn around and worship God the next as if nothing had happened. It's like saying, I go to church, but still choosing to boldly sin against God. These people were not real with themselves or God, and Jeremiah told them how God had warned them about doing evil things over and over, but they just didn't listen. So then Jeremiah told them that God was going to destroy the temple, or the place where his presence was, because of the Israelites' evil. That meant that the presence and the blessings of God would no longer be with them. That's pretty bad news. The Israelites were in major trouble. God had been patient with them and given them chance after chance to keep their promises to him and to follow his laws. But now they were acting as bad as those who didn't even know God. They made strangers and the poor into slaves instead of loving them. They ignored people who God told them to help, like kids without parents and wives who had lost their husbands. And they actively hurt people and worshiped gods that they knew were not real. They might have well told God that they hated him, but God wouldn't let the Israelites continue to get away with their sin. He chose to destroy the temple so that they would understand that God wouldn't support them while they sinned. That's why the one thing to remember is that God doesn't let sin win.
Today's story about the Israelites reminds me a little bit of pouring water. Pouring water is pretty easy when you're up close to the cup, right? I mean, I could do this with my eyes closed. I could do this literally not watching. So easy. But have you ever tried pouring water from higher up? All right, here we go. Not gonna look. Okay, I completely missed. Well, it doesn't work that well, does it? It's very hard to aim and get the water to follow the path that you want. Sometimes it's the same with our lives. We try to do things our own way and end up with a big mess, just like the Israelites did when they did things their own way and stopped following God. But let's see what changes if we give this water a path to follow using this string. All right, this is kind of going to be a montage, so follow me. First, I'm going to get our string wet. All right, now that our string is wet, we're going to take some tape. We're going to connect our string to both cups. You'll notice that this cup is completely empty, right? All right, now that we have our string connected, we have a nice path that our water can follow. Okay, pay close attention. Remember, our cup was completely empty just a second ago. The cup in my top hand is nowhere near the cup on the bottom, and yet the water flows right into it. It is completely pouring into our cup. Wow. Pretty cool, right? The water followed the path of the string and makes it right into this cup where it belongs. God gives us a path to follow too, the way of Jesus. When we follow Jesus, we turn away from our sin. That means we can make the choice to do the right thing even when it's hard. And to be honest, making the right choice is usually hard. But God has given us the Holy Spirit to help guide us, just like the string guides the water. We can ask the Holy Spirit for help turning from our sin and following God. That's why our action step for today is that we can choose to turn from our sin.
Hi, my name's Justin. I want to tell you about a time I chose to turn from my sin. When I was 8 years old, they would sell these delicious chocolate chip cookies at my school during lunchtime. But my family didn't have a lot of money, and so I couldn't always get a cookie. But one day, I saw a container in my house that was filled with a bunch of coins. And this was a jar that we got my dad for Father's Day one year, and it was filled with a whole bunch of root beer candies. And you know what? I actually have that jar here. I want to show it to you guys. So here it is. This is the actual jar that my dad had. So after he ate all of those candies, he would drop his pocket change in there. One day before school, I took this jar and I opened it up and I poured all of the change into my backpack. So what I did, I stole all of my dad's money. And when I put it in my backpack and I put it on my shoulders and I began to walk out the front door, my dad asked, what was all of the noise that was in my backpack? So I told him that it was nothing, it was just my books. So now I not only stole from my dad, I was now lying to my dad. And so he asked me if he could look because it sounded funny to him. So I started to walk backwards with my back towards the door to the house. And then he asked me if I knew where all of his change went. And I told him I didn't know. And my voice began to quiver. So he unzipped my backpack and he pulled out a big bunch of change of quarters and dimes and nickels, and he asked me where I got the money from. And I told him it was mine. He then asked me again, but this time he said, Justin, I need you to tell the truth. This was my chance to choose to keep sinning or to turn from my sin. And I remember in that moment when my dad asked me that, my eyes began to well and tears began to come out of my eyes, and I started to cry. And I told him I took all of his money. He told me he knew that I did that, and he asked me why I did it. And I told him I wanted a cookie. And my dad told me that all I needed to do was ask him, and he would make sure that I'd have a cookie anytime that I wanted one. But I just needed to ask. And he told me that he forgave me and that I would never have to lie to him again. Just like I finally told the truth about taking my dad's money, you guys can choose to turn from your sin too.
We love having you here in Hope Falls and hope to get you back on track soon. Our series memory verse comes from Ezekiel 36:26. It says, "Also, I will teach you to respect me completely. I will put a new way to think inside you. I will take out the stubborn heart like stone from your bodies, and I will give you an obedient heart of flesh." We saw in our story how God spoke through the prophet Jeremiah to call out the Israelites for not following him. He told them that he would destroy the temple they worshiped him in as a consequence for the evil things they continue to do. That's why the one thing to remember is that God doesn't let sin win, and that means we can choose to turn from our sin. You can live out the vision of being real with yourself, God, and others by opening up your Get Real guide to the Now What. God asks us to do what is right even if it's not easy. Think about a way you need to do what is right in your own life. Maybe it means working on respecting your parents, not telling lies, being kind to others, or sharing instead of being selfish. Take 2 minutes to pray to God and ask Him to show you what you need to change. Then ask Him to help you turn from your sin and do what is right. Thanks for visiting Hope Falls, and we'll see you back here next week.